everyone, today I am going to show you how to make Pom Pom fabric scrap earrings. This is what the earrings look like when we are done. Depending on what size kit you get, you can make different size pom-poms. These are super fun, very big and colorful, and a fun way to make a statement and to use up your fabric scraps, which you guys know I love to do. So the tools that you're going to need for this tutorial, most importantly, is a pom-pom maker. I got this one on Amazon. I will link it below. You can get these at Michael's or Joann's or your local craft store. I don't know why it's called a knitting loom, but it makes all different size pom-poms. And I have not yet used this giant one. You might have to do some experimenting to see the actual size that is made from each maker. But just to give you an example, this smallest maker is what I use to make these yellow earrings. So the final diameter is a little bigger, of the pom-pom is a little bit bigger than of the maker. And then this pink one is what I use to make these multicolored pom-poms, which those look to be about the same diameter, so I don't really know. I don't really know what the correlation is there, but you definitely are going to need a pom-pom maker. For this example, I'm actually going to do the middle size to see. I actually have not used this one yet. So to see how that goes, you need strips of fabric. These can be however wide you want. Narrower is better. Like this piece is a little wide, but and length doesn't really matter. You're going to be wrapping around the pom-pom maker, so longer pieces will be faster, but you can use smaller pieces just fine. It'll take you more time to wrap around. You're going to need some kind of very strong thread. I like to use upholstery weight, shearing weight, top stitch thread, anything that is strong, because you're going to need to pull a knot really tight without breaking it. I like to use upholstery weight, some snips, some scissors, sharp fabric scissors. I am doing a chain drop in this demonstration like you see here. This is a chain. But before I got the chain, I also just tied with the upholstery thread, and that works just fine as well. And then, so you're going to need some pliers, some jewelry pliers, a ruler. If you are doing the chain, of course, you are going to need some chain. I forget how big this chain is. It's super small. I probably could have gone a little bigger because it is kind of hard for me to get my hooks through. And then of course you need some earring hooks. So starting off, how the pom-pom maker works, we're going to open it up like so. It has all these pieces, and these two halves come apart, but those need to be connected, and there's instructions for this on the back of the pom-pom maker. But basically you want to line up your colored pieces, and you just start wrapping your fabric around. I like to start from the inside, and you want to be sure to cover all the parts of your pom-pom maker. And then you just, when you get to the end of that piece, you just take another piece and keep going. Keep in mind that these are going to be connected by the inside of here. So I don't want to start my raw edge here because this isn't going to be connected, then it wouldn't be connected to anything. So I'm going to always start my raw edge on the outside of the pom-pom maker. And you just wrap. This part is a little tedious, but you just keep on wrapping. So the goal here, you want your pom-pom to be pretty dense. A loose pom-pom is not going to hold all these pieces in. They'll start to fall out and it'll just look kind of like not very full and fun. As you can see in this one, you can use multicolored fabric scraps as well for the same pom-pom. You would just, to make this, I just alternated the different colors as I was wrapping, and it kind of comes out in a very abstract way. If you wanted it to be more uniform, you could also just do one color on one side and one color on the other, which could be pretty fun. So this is a good amount. I think I'm gonna do one more. You really, I mean, I don't know if you, I guess you could do too much. You don't want, see this curve right here, this curve? You don't really want to stuff it to where your fabric is going past that curve. Okay, and once you are pretty satisfied with how full that is, you just close up that side, start again on the other side. Okay, so you want to make sure that your wrapping is pretty uniform all the way across each arch. And you want to make sure that you have the same amount on both sides of your wrapping. This one seems like it's a little more, slightly more stuffed than the other one. So I'm going to get a smaller piece and add a little bit more to this side. So now we have both sides are wrapped evenly. This is where it gets a little tricky. You want to have all hands on deck from this point forward. So I'm going to close the pom-pom maker and I'm going to take my scissors, and each pom-pom maker around the outside has this dipped ridge. That's for your scissor blade to slide through. So starting in the very corner, I'm just gonna snip and snip through as much of that as I can. And you want to be sure that you can see all of the colors. You don't want any of your pieces to still be connected. You want to be able to see that pom-pom maker through, all the way through. So do not take this apart yet. That would be very bad. The next thing you're going to do is cut a decent amount of thread. It just helps to have like a lot to hold on to and be able to really pull it around. So now we are going to wrap the thread around. You want to go through this crack in your pom-pom maker. I like to use a thread that's a different color than my fabric. It just makes it a little easier if you lose hold of your thread or are looking for the middle of your pom-pom for some reason. And you're just going to tie a knot and pull that tight, 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 tight. And let's tie another knot and pull that nice and tight. Okay, now we can undo. I like to undo one side at a time. This is the fun part. And pull off your middle, or this half of the piece. Kind of fluff your pom-pom. It's looking so fun. And I like to leave the other half of the maker on there just because it's easier to access the middle of the pom-pom to tie in your chain while that's still on. So I have found that, to me, about a 1-inch piece of chain works best, has a good drop and falls keeps the pom-pom falling in a good spot on your face. But you can play around with whatever works for you. So I'm going to cut a 1-inch piece of chain. I'm going to use my wire cutters here to cut that. And then I am going to thread one side of this embroidery thread through the bottom ring of my chain, and then I'm going to tie that in there with a double knot. Tie that nice and tight. So once that is good and tight in there, you can clip your thread, and you don't want to clip it so close to the knot that it's in danger of coming out, but you do want to clip it shorter than your pom-pom scraps because you don't want it to show. Okay, now we can keep track of where your chain is. You don't want to get your chain lost in your pom-pom, but we can remove the other side of our pom-pom maker by opening up these arms and just taking the pom-pom off. Now let's give it a fluff. So you're gonna have some sort of wonky pieces. We'll address that in a second, but I want to finish making the earring first. So I have found that with my chain, I can't fit a jump ring through this chain. I have to just do it with the actual earring post. So again, keep that in mind when you are purchasing a chain. I will link the chain that I have below, so maybe you know what size not to buy, because it's a little, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it is a little too tightly, the links are too small to really fit any of, I mean, I'm sure there are jump rings that fit on it. It's meant to be made into jewelry, but mine do not. So I just open up that earring hook, and this part is a little bit tricky, but slide the earring hook onto that topmost chain link, and then close your earring hoop back up. When you close your earring hoop back up, you want to get that little ball out of the way because you want it to slide back down over your earring hoop. Okay, now we have a pretty cute looking earring, and now all we got to do is give it a little haircut. This is actually the fun part to me. So I usually just hang it like this and sort of look around and see where there's any, ooh, I almost cut my chain. Where there's any, like if it looks kind of uneven in spots, and just kind of even it out. And I have a super cute earring, and now I just have to make another one. And this, now you can see the 3 sizes for these 3 pom-pom makers. I can only imagine how big and amazing it would be if I used the other size. Okay, so I just whipped up the other one so you could see I now have a matching pair of these adorable pom-pom earrings, and they are just so cute, and they keep up pretty well. I mean, obviously they're not made to be like uber handled, but I mean, earrings just are meant to hang there and not really be handled, so they don't need to be washed or anything, obviously. And I also wanted to show y'all real quick, if you don't have chain, you can just leave your thread tail on your upholstery thread and tie a knot at the end and thread your earring hook through that, and that works totally fine as well. I hope all of your earring pom-pom making dreams come true. Use hashtag fabric scrap earrings so I can see any fun earrings you make, and happy earring making!